quarter, Utah State controlling things against Southern Utah. It's been a great performance, offense, defense. Chucky Keaton's been sharp. There's this guy, Joe Hill. Hill continues to run. Trying for his third rushing touchdown, and he's got it. What speed by Joe Hill off the edge.
Wow. A year ago, it was Robert Turbin and Michael Smith. This year, the two-headed monster looks like Kerwin Williams and that young man just going over 100 yards. A 33-yard scamper, setting up the block right here by Matt Austin, and then getting to the outside and showing speed down the sideline into the end zone. Terrific run by Joe Hill, and excellent blocking at the point of attack, and that great wide receiver Matt Austin down the field.
I thought Southern Utah had the angle, but Hill turned on those afterburners. Was able to score and trying to go for two. He get it. Pulled down at the 5. A horse collar. Jordan Benfoot, another Juan Diego soaring eagle. Trying to get it in the end zone for two. Unable to make that work. So it's 34-3. And Hill with his third rushing touchdown. 14:51 left. Utah State extending their lead over Southern Utah, 34-3. Just got done talking about good individual performances by Utah State. Certainly Joe Hill, one of them. Keaton, defensively, any standouts on the D?
I think certainly Lawson, before he went out with a cramp, played well. I've been very impressed by the overall scheme and execution on defense for Utah State. And now we'll probably start seeing a few more of those second and third team guys getting some experience here in the fourth quarter. But you're right, some individual performance. How about Joe Hill? 11 carries, 116 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Great hit.
And there was Vigil with the stop.
Is that Zach again? I thought he's been playing well here tonight. Called his name several times.
Josh Smith, freshman out of Bingham, with the return for Southern Utah. Again, I'm surprised we haven't seen a touchback. Starts with the 25. Instead, Southern Utah will set up shop at the 20. And now officials whistling this play dead and conferring at the 20.
We talked about Keaton, now 22 of 26 for 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. We may see Adam Kennedy in the next Utah State offensive possession.
Miles Crawford Harris, the deep back for Southern Utah. Gets it here, cuts it up, gets about the 24-yard line.
The offensive coordinator Steve Clark yesterday, and mentioned that they wanted to be really careful in this game with Brad Sorensen. They wanted to certainly establish the run game identity. Don't know that they've done that here tonight, but they did not want Sorensen taking big hits. And I think we could tell tonight with Sorensen that he was getting the ball out quick and throwing many balls actually away instead of taking the hits. I'm surprised now that he may still be in the ball game. This may be his final series, because you need to have that NFL caliber quarterback for the rest of the season.
So the Utah, part of that play, 23 carries, 45 yards. So the running attack hasn't come together. Of course, playing up against a pretty good Utah State defense.
But with a 31-point deficit, now running the football, I think that's a sign that this Southern Utah coaching staff is saying, hey, let's do this. Let's not get our quarterback hurt, and let's really work up front on our running game.
500 yards total offense for Utah State. Sorensen, big ball again to Morgan, and this will certainly be pass interference on Giamatti as he was holding Morgan for the last 10 yards of the route. I think Morgan's still able to make the catch. So Cameron Morgan, nice job. Good to see that young man getting a chance here.
Terrific catch. Because you're right, Robertson right there had a hold of his jersey at the 45, at the 50, at the 45, had his jersey all the way. May not have come in with the catch in bounds, so the penalty will stand. But terrific concentration and catch by Morgan. And that's the second time that Robertson's been flagged. And he'll get a breather. Curious to see what the injury to Lawson was. It looked like maybe it may have been a cramp, the way he hobbled off the field. But one of the keys in these early preseason games is you want to come out as healthy as possible.
Not eye-popping numbers by any rate by Sorensen, but folks have to take our word. He's a really good quarterback, trust me. He's going to do some good things in the Big Sky Conference as well for Southern Utah. He's had 2 terrific seasons in 2011 and 2010. Struggling here against this Utah State defense is Hannah Brown with the reception.
And you know, he's going up against a pretty darn good defense. They were much improved a year ago. A lot of guys getting time here tonight. Glover that time, the transfer from Eastern Arizona, coming up out of the safety position to make the hit on Brown. Looked like Brown had a lot of space out there. Glover able to cut him down.
2nd and 7 for Southern Utah. In motion out to that far side. Wilson up to about the 48-yard line.
And you are seeing a lot of 2nd and 3rd team guys for this Utah State defense now. Some guys of the future.
Next up for Utah State, Friday night against Utah. This place will be packed. It'll be quiet atmosphere. Next, a good crowd, by the way, tonight for the opener, 2010. 18, 19, maybe 20,000 estimating here.
The herd filling up the east stands, making themselves heard.
3rd and short. Pass is incomplete. Trying to go back shoulder to Pedersen. Unable to bring it in. Don't know if he saw it in time.
That was one of those pro throws. Back shoulder fade. Alston stride for stride. Pedersen had a chance to make that catch. Receiver out of Lone Peak High School.
Second year playing with Southern Utah. Again came on late in the year, last year. Work in progress as the season progresses. Utah State's defense forcing another punt. Third catch called for and made by Van Leeuwen. 11:38 left. 34-3. Omni Stadium. 2012 opener. Kennedy is checked into the ball game. Going to start on the ground, 1st down yardage. Marshall running hard, the sophomore. Well, how about our GNC player of the game? We're going to stay with the running back theme. Joe Miller's marvelous tonight.
Absolutely, 11 carries, 116 yards. Here's that 27-yarder in the first half. Saw the 19-yarder early. Catching the ball out of the backfield. And then this was a thing of beauty to cut to the outside, the block by Austin, and down the sideline, 33 yards for his 3rd touchdown of the ball game.
That speed down the edge. Very impressive. Kennedy gonna run, slides down at the 40. And he is not getting up. It almost looked like a late hit. He kind of gave himself up with the slide. Contact was made by a Southern Utah defender, and he's holding.
Left shoulder looks like maybe took a knee to the shoulder.
He's still down.
I hate to see that. He got one play in the first half when Keaton's helmet came off and had a completion. Now getting his shot to play here. The first play from scrimmage. There was a little bit of a head hunting play that time by that Southern Utah defender. Couldn't see who that was. Kennedy stepping up, then giving himself up, leading with the head. That one certainly could have been called. I think that may have been Ricky Clark, the 6'2", 224-pound linebacker out of Hayward, California.
Last thing you like to see, I mean, anytime, but especially in a blowout situation. 34-3, 11 minutes left. And there it is. Borderline
Close.
at best.
Close.
I think borderline at best.
And it looks like the shoulder, left shoulder, maybe the arm for Kennedy. Boy, you know, you just think about the long season. We saw it last year. Keaton gets hurt. Kennedy comes in, plays extremely well. It's really hard to tell right there how he hurt the arm or the shoulder. It certainly looks like that's what he's holding.
Kennedy had that marvelous run last year. Came in. They were trailing at Hawaii big. It's been a long time since they've beaten Hawaii in the islands. Bowl eligibility kind of in the balance a little bit too. I mean, if you're going to make a run, it had to start with that game, and he came back, and he was fantastic.
Now, who's your third guy? Because if Kennedy's hurt for any extended period of time, you've got to get your third team guy now ready behind Keaton. I mean, almost every team needs to have that second, possibly third quarterback ready to go.
Penalty marker coming out late.
This one's going to go on big number 5, Flintroy. He had 8 tackles in the first half, really flying around. This time showing a little bit of frustration. And you've got Keaton back in the ballgame, which I know the Utah State coaching staff really doesn't want to have right now with just over 10 minutes to go. But you got to believe that he's going to be handing the football off most of the time here down the stretch. You just can't afford to get him hurt, especially if Kennedy is hurt worse than what you hope.
I wonder if they're thinking about bringing in their third team quarterback. Let's see who that would be. Marshall to the 40.
They got Jeff Manning on the roster, former quarterback at Utah State. I think they'd really like to redshirt him, though, if they possibly could.
What a career he had with the Logan Grizzlies. Logan products, big arm, demolished 3A his senior year.
You got freshman Mike Chislock, freshman out of Huntington Beach, California.
They've got late signees.
Got an injured T-Bird down on the field.
This is Collette who had that interception against Chucky.
He's starting to see a little bit of attrition. It is a warm night here tonight in Logan.
Got our 4 seasons weather report. 74 degrees, 9 miles an hour. Beautiful. It's nicer out there than here, Kevin. I don't want to hate on anything, but it felt like Nashville, Tennessee up in this booth about an hour before the game.
Well, all I know is I'm starting to cramp up here, so it must be a lot warmer here than it is down on the field.
34-3, Utah State controlling Southern Utah. Back after this. Sitting around in pain. Being escorted to the locker room. Tommy Collette from Southern Utah able to walk off the field unassisted. What's going on with Kennedy? Another run, first down run by Robert Marshall. And seems like every running back looks solid for Utah State.
Credit that Utah State offensive line. Those big guys played awfully well tonight, led by Tyler Larson at all-conference center out of Jordan High School in Salt Lake City, 6'4", 312. His brother told me he looks more like 350 when we've seen him on TV.
You see that block, though? Terrific block. Again, he's another potential NFL guy. The rushing yards. Marshall again.
Now here's your answer at quarterback. Jermaine Olsen, wearing number 14. We thought he was a cornerback. Not sure who that is, Michael.
And on the depth chart, Olsen's been around the program for a few years. Getting a chance here against Southern Utah. Fourth quarter. Marshall able to slip out of one would-be tackler.
Get a close-up on the back of the jersey of the new quarterback, because I don't think that's Olsen's is a defensive back.
It's Harrison.
Is that Craig Harrison? Another Snow College kid. Out of Grantsville, I believe.
6'2", 203, sophomore. One-time Snow Badger. Running play up the middle, a couple of yards. They've had a number of uniform switches, or I should say number changes, the last couple of weeks. We have him as 19. So getting some chance, a valuable playing experience here against Southern Utah.
Well, they're going to have to define this now. If Kennedy's out for any extended period of time, they're going to have to define who's going to be that backup behind Chucky Keaton.
Marshall to the 11. This offensive line simply controlling Southern Utah. Wimpy, Marcosi, Larson, Schultz, Oscar, Molina, Sanchez, returned from last year. It's a good sign for Aggie fans.
Absolutely. And now, as a matter of fact, both Wimpy boys. And they are not wimpy, let me tell you. I've had them over to our home for dinner once, and they can certainly put the food away. Big boys, and that was several years ago. Now they're both up over 300 pounds.
Initially, they went to Idaho State. Decided to change their mind. Abu Torre with the run here. Massachusetts, 6'2", 230, junior. Let's go to Brooks Hanson, who's got something on Kennedy.
Guys, I talked to Dr. Trent Lyons, and what he said is he's a tough kid, and he's in a lot of pain. You know, and he's getting carted off. It looks like holding his wrist and a little bit in his shoulder. So that's what we have for Adam Kennedy. But a tough kid and a good kid. Hope to see him back out on the field.
Again, Abu lost the football. Southern Utah able to, we're going to say he was down. T-Birds recovered it, but I think they marked it down, and that is the call.
Let's see if Coach Ed Lamb challenges this one, because it looked like Abu was reaching out when that ball came out. Coach Ed Lamb out at the 20-yard line wants to see a replay here, and he's maybe not going to get it. Here's our replay. I think he is now going to challenge it. Wilson, I think that ball's out from that angle as he was starting to reach forward. One more look here. Reverse pivot. Wilson following, or Abu following Marshall, reaching out with that right hand, not really protecting the football very well. I think that ball may have been out.
I think there was bodies underneath, so it wasn't quite on this lovely field turf. So I think this is going to be a fumble and Southern Utah possession.
What would the score be if Utah State had not turned the football over inside the red zone? Here we go, stretching it out with the right hand hard. That ball's coming out right. I don't know if there's enough there. That goalpost is kind of impeding the view, but it sure looked like he was up and reaching, and that ball came out. Right here, reaching.
There's bodies underneath. It just.
When does that ball come out, though? Is that left knee down? Hard to tell with that many bodies underneath him.
And I believe the call on the field was down by contact.
Correct. So there has to be undisputable evidence.
Yeah.
He's on top of bodies there. Tough call here. Because there you see the ball coming out.
Yeah. This is a tough call. I thought this was going to be a fumble, so the Utah ball, but there's nothing there to really convince me. Tough.
That probably is the best angle. The question is, where is his left knee? Is the knee down before the ball comes out?
And that off arm, is that elbow down? Is the forearm down? You know,
and it has to be undisputable.
Yeah, I don't think that's undisputable by any means. We're still. I mean, it looks to me like it's a fumble, but there's nothing that says.
Right there, the ball is starting to come out.
Curious what they call here. Remember, the call on the field is down by contact.
Buttori. His coaches will work with him this week to keep that football protected. I know you want to score a touchdown, young man. Get that ball over the end line, but secure it until you get there. You know, give credit to Southern Utah's defense. You know, they have given up a lot of yards. They've been on the field an awful long time in this football game. But they played hard. They stopped Utah State in the third quarter on the fourth down inside the 10-yard line. They came up with an interception inside the Aggie red zone. And now here trying to get another turnover.
Their next game is at Cal. So what a brutal schedule to start at Utah State, at Cal. Newly retrofitted stadium there in Cal Berkeley. First Pac-12 opponent in Southern Utah history. It looked like in 01 they might have a chance to play Oregon State, but instead Oregon State opted to play Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks. So this will be their first matchup against a Pac-12 school. And for Utah State, they too will play a Pac-12 school, but they'll get to host it.
Utah coming to town to Logan next Friday night. That should be a terrific ball game. Really anxious to see how this team stacks up against the University
I really
of Utah.
feel like Utah State, they're going to surprise a lot of people around the state. Really believe that.
And all you hear down in the Salt Lake area is, they're not even talking about Utah State giving any bit of a challenge in that ball game. I think it's going to be a tougher ball game than.
If the herd shows up, which I believe they will,
they are going to reverse the call and give Southern Utah the football.
It's tough. I didn't see anything really that strongly said that the ball was fumbled, but in my estimation, I thought it was. Just there's nothing conclusive. But this place is going to be crazy. They'll be jacked up. I'm curious to see what will happen. Utah State now their second turnover, both in the red zone. Bit concerning moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. Ball security is always a concern. I think the throw by Keaton to Austin that was picked off by Collette, understandable. He came back to the middle a little bit late. This one, you can coach up a little bit more. Secure that football till you get to the goal line. But credit Southern Utah for making a play and keeping the Aggies out of the end zone. And I'm really surprised to see Sorensen still in this ball game.
Start out with a run that goes nowhere. Again, it's Wilson. I think Southern Utah fans are disappointed that the offense, that they weren't able to score more points. Just that one field goal, they got that at the end of the first half. Felt like they could be competitive just about against anybody. But just 3 points on the board.
And
tough day.
Sorensen only 10 of 25 for 112 yards.
He really didn't play that well in the win against UNLV either. They got special teams and defense played well. So he has struggled a little bit against FBS competition. He was injured in the San Jose State game. T-Birds led virtually the whole way until the Spartans scored a late touchdown to win the game. At that time, SU was back to their third-string quarterback. So against that bigger, stronger competition, he hasn't been quite as impressive.
I heard Brooks say that we've got scouts here from the Vikings, from the Titans, from the Seahawks. There are scouts here from several teams.
From the Jaguars, I got a card here. I can't mention a name because he would get in trouble, so I'm not going to say his name. But
maybe they were scouting you. If he gave you his business card.
No, that's impossible. They were looking at a number of players. He didn't want to go into too many details. This one airmailed. And obviously Sorensen's one of the guys. And, he mentioned Austin and Will Davis.
And that's some others. An area where Sorensen, I think, has not been very sharp tonight. He has airmailed a couple. And this time he had Morgan wide open in the flat and just zipped it over his head.
But going forward, I think he's going to be fine. Now, next week, major challenge against the Cal Bears. And it's a tough schedule, and Southern Utah plays a historically difficult schedule, mostly against FCS opponents, normally the ranked playoff-type teams. With the Big Sky, this will be intriguing as Cam Webb, fair catch at the 41. 4:57 left, 34-3 Utah State. Utah State with possession at the 41. Harrison, transfer from Snow, giving it up. Utah State just been solid tonight. Both sides of the football. They'll play some of their reserves. Sharif, I believe, now getting a chance to tote the football.
Is he the son of Sharif Shah, the former player and now coach at the University of Utah? Carry the same name. Could be junior.
Fifth different running back, Utah State, they've been able to use.
You're right, though. They have been very solid. The 2 turnovers, and here's an, oh boy,
Nearly
bobbled
another
snap.
one, but
Yep.
Harrison able to corral it. And how about our Lewiston State Bank play of the game? Keaton to Austin, a thing of beauty.
We had just talked about not targeting Austin to that point, and it zipped down the field, and Austin catching everything in his hands. Having a great time here tonight. His 6th year in college football. Made some good blocks. 5 catches, I believe, here tonight. Terrific evening for Matt Austin.
He's the Lewiston State player of the game. Another run play. Utah State just trying to run this thing out. This is Lee with the run.
Austin's 5 catches, 119 yards, and 1 touchdown. Didn't quite get the 10 touches that Coach Matt Wells told us he might get. But Utah State doing a good job spreading the wealth here tonight.
Kelvin Lee, 5'10", 180 freshman. Another one of those Florida kids. A couple of double numbers here. Playing tricks up here in the booth here. But that is Lee. Looks good. Solid so far. It's another chance. There he is. Scampers for a few more. Gordon Garrett with the stop.
Garrett doesn't get him. And he was fortunate to get him. See there, rushing yardage. Utah State a year ago averaged almost 283 yards per game rushing. They thought without Turbin and without Michael Smith that it would be a little bit more through the air, but terrific balance here tonight. Keaton was 22 of 26 for 304 yards through the air, and now 275 yards rushing. Excellent balance for that Aggie offense.
Lee again. It's about the 38. 3rd and short coming up for Utah State. A lot of 2s and 3s. So immediately following our game, NFL preseason action on KMYU. My Utah TV.
Is that your Raiders?
It's Denver.
Ah, it's Denver.
But right now, yeah, Bobby Wagner, Robert Turbin going to do battle against the Raiders. So, yeah, Broncos preseason football on KMYU.
Not sure that they'll see Peyton Manning play tonight. Probably not.
Lee, that 4th preseason game, normally inningless. Ones don't play that often. And guys just playing for roster spots, normally elsewhere. But boy, Utah State, as the clock ticking down here, will be tested next week against Utah. But this is as good as I've seen them.
Awfully strong. Both sides of the football. Coach Gary Anderson, there he is, has to be pleased, except for the turnovers. I think other than that, he'll be very pleased. Penalties, 8 penalties, few too many there. The 2 turnovers, but you can see he's very happy here tonight.
The turnovers and maybe special teams too. They did have the 2 fumbles, able to get back on them.
And then certainly the nature of Kennedy's injury. I think that's going to be key to figure out this week. Because if you've got Harrison there, you've got to get him ready as the second quarterback behind Chucky Keaton if Kennedy is seriously injured.
Indeed. Picked 2nd in the WAC. Latek picked 1st. But boy, this has the makings of a very special season here in Logan.
And Utah State will have to travel to Ruston for that game against La Tech this year, which will be a difficult task. Obviously, La Tech, a bowl participant a year ago, played a terrific game in that bowl game against TCU. I think it was a 31-24 game against a very good TCU squad. So you know that one will be a tough one. But if they play like they have tonight, in terms of the balance and the strength up front, dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides, I think they'll have a great shot, both next week against Utah and then down in Ruston.
The official is down.
Will Davis still making plays.
Even on the stripes.
Oof.
That was a collision. Hey, you mentioned that Wisconsin game in a couple of weeks. It's a big one. Lost to Oregon in the last Rose Bowl, but back-to-back Rose Bowl participants. Another look.
Will Davis with his head up on the football. Can't stop in time.
Ooh.
Decleated the official. Do they count that as a decleater and give that official credit for getting up?
He gets a nice ovation.
And now they mark.
Glasses back on. He's okay. Yeah, the jaw not quite as normal as it was a couple minutes ago, but good to see that he's going to be fine.
Boy, that's a tough cookie right there.
Will Davis, I'm curious to see what he does this year. Again, NFL potential. He only played 1 year of high school football. His whole life was basketball. I like basketball, but he decided to do it his senior year. JC route. Looked like he was going to go to Hawaii. Coach A talked him here. Now he has a chance to go to the NFL as Moala with the reception. And 2 penalty markers come down. Moala, one of those transfers from Utah. Played last year for Southern Utah.
I think they're going to get Quentin Bird. Good adjustment by Moala to make that catch. And Sorensen still in the ball game. Just don't want him to take a big hit here with a half minute to go.
In a 34-3 game. Trying to score a touchdown against Utah State. Moala again. Same back shoulder, and Bird, he's going to be guilty again. This is a tough call against him. I didn't think this was necessarily pass interference.
But he didn't get his head turned to make a play on the ball. And I think that's what the official is calling here. If he gets his head turned around, then I think he's in good shape.
Accepted, 15-yard penalty, first down.
So a couple of penalties, moving the ball for Southern Utah.
So he doesn't get his head turned right there, and he's got his arms on the receiver. So I think that's probably the right call.
I can see why the official threw the flag now, looking at that. Sorensen with time, underneath. Big run after catch by Malik Brown, the freshman from Las Vegas. A nice job in camp. Ray shirted him last year. Nice to see winning team, losing team transferred from the Spectrum here to Rodney. They catch it, skipped it to Cameron Morgan.
You're right. If the herd comes out in force like this, and they certainly will next week, absolutely.
That's going to be tough. I don't think, we'll see. I mean, Utah's got good coaches. They've got good players and all that. But if they underestimate Utah State, that's a big mistake. I think this is the best Utah State team in a couple of decades.
I agree, 100%.
Coach A's done a marvelous job. Sorensen all day to throw. Davis knocks it away, but might be guilty of a penalty.
Now this one, I think...
He's incredulous, I'm sure.
Yeah, this one I'm not quite certain of, unless he got his left arm around, because he stepped through to try to make a play on the football. So this one, not quite as clear to me as the one on Bird just previously. Love to see this one again, because I think Davis thought he might have a play on the ball on this particular play.
Penalty, automatic.
3 pass interference calls against Utah State and helping Southern Utah, 10 seconds left. You don't think Coach Lamb wants a touchdown?
So Davis, that one I think is a questionable call. Unless they called it on the linebacker running down the center of the field. I didn't hear
Henderson, yeah, I don't know if there was a number associated with that.
Right.
A tough one
It's
against Davis.
Absolutely right.
T-Birds looking to score a touchdown. Can they do it? Dangerous pass there. Really intercepted. That Terrell Thompson. Unable to get it. 5 seconds left. Southern Utah perhaps down to their final play.
And you know Utah State wants to hold them out of the end zone, and you know Southern Utah would like to get their first touchdown of the season right here. Final play of the game.
There it is, looking to go to McNabb, and it's intercepted in the end zone, and that's the way this ball game will end. So through McNabb's fingertips to Harold, LeBradford Harold, out of Texas. And Southern Utah goes down to defeat 34-3. Utah State with their first pick of the season. Utah State winners by a score of 34-3. See you in a couple weeks for Trevor Stokes, Tyler Woodbury, Brooks Hansen, and Kevin White. I'm Michael Clanton. So long from Logan, Utah. Aggies winners 34.